Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. I am super excited. So in this video, we're just looking at charting tips and some of the things that I normally do pre-market before the opening bell, just to give me a little clearer view of, my charts, right? So let me first give my disclaimer, y'all. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. But if you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at the SPY, and y'all, I like to look at the 30-minute. I've said so often that, it just tells a story that I like to read, right? So before the opening bell, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are. And as you can see, I mark those areas. I grade those out as time goes on. Why? Because at some point, we're going to come back to this area again. And as you can see, this is a prime example of we've been at this area before, and it kind of let me know that we could possibly come back to that area again. But what I need to go ahead and just mark now is from this line to this line, there was a gap, a little space in between. So I'm going to mark here that something stopped us or is stopping us. This candle has not closed, but I need to remember the body of where this candle is. So I'm going to add that to my charting. Why? Because it looks like it's going to be, here where the body is. We got rejected on this 5 EMA, again, the 30-minute chart. Are we going to bounce from here and go back up, or are we going to come back to the downside? Either way, I need to remember this area here, right? So one of the other things that I like to do is I normally look at my 5-minute chart and then my 2-minute chart, but sometimes if, with my setup, I can look at both at the same time. However, sometimes if you don't have a double screen or, more than one monitor, you can go in and mark your levels. Like I know that this is the 5 EMA on the 30-minute chart. So I'm going to mark that so that when I go to a smaller time frame or when I go to another time frame, I know that this is my 5 EMA on my 30-minute chart. Instead of going to the 30-minute chart, I can already mark that area, just so that, I can see that and know that I could possibly, it's going to help when you're in the trade or getting in the trade or knowing where your possible trouble places are. Now, this 20 EMA is kind of already at an area that I already have marked, which I like to see that, y'all. Simple support and resistance. The 20 EMA is right at a support line that I already have marked. So I'm going to leave that one as it is. Now, this 200 EMA right here, I'm going to mark that. Why? Because we could very well get stopped out in this area, and I get as close to it as I possibly can. I just want to know where my possible trouble places are. So I'm going to mark this as the 200 EMA on my 30-minute chart so that I know when I go back to look at it, I'm not fumbling through it. Now, my 50 EMA is kind of already at a place as of now where I could possibly have trouble. So I'm not really going to mark that one because I know it's there. I know I could possibly have trouble based on this line that's already there, kind of like what we did here on the 20 EMA. What I would like to see is this ATR trailing stop. Even though it is really close to this 590.89 area that I have marked, I still want to know that this is my ATR trailing stop, because in my opinion, and y'all know I do everything the exact same color, it just makes it simple for me. This ATR trailing stop is, in my opinion, is a strong support area or a strong resistance area, again, in my opinion. So I'm going to see if I can go to a smaller time frame and see that some of those things are already marked on my charts. So I see that here. I see that 55 EMA here. And those are things that I want to know when I'm possibly in a trade, right? So I need to know that I could possibly have trouble in those areas. So now I'm going to go to my 1-hour chart. And yes, my SPY chart is very congested, y'all, because I've been looking at this for a few years now. And I've been charting, trying to figure out trouble places. And it just helps to go back and study. Once you find something that you like, go back and study that and get familiar with it, how it moves, how it responds, how it, things like that, because it's going to help you on your trading journey. Now, for this 50 EMA here, it's really close to a level that I already have marked. I don't think I'm needing to mark that one. The 5 EMA is not as close as I would like to see it, but I know that's the 5 EMA on the 30-minute chart. So could I mark that? Yes, I could. Now, the 200 EMA as of right now is right here at a level that I already have marked for the SPY. So I'm going to not mark that one, but I am going to mark this 5 EMA, which is somewhere around this level here, if I can. Somewhere around here. Let's see. We're going to get close to it, right? So I'm going to put 5 EMA on the 1-hour chart because I'm now on a higher time frame. And if this does not work for you, it's okay. It's, you know, I always say so often with trading is trying to figure out what strategy works best for you. But I'm going to go 4 hour. I'm not just going to do because it's going to be very, very congested. Let's say that. But this kind of helps me know where my possible trouble places are. So if we should go back to the upside, I know I could have trouble here. I know I could have trouble here. No, I could have trouble here. No, I could have trouble possibly. Let me rephrase that. Possibly have trouble here. Possibly have trouble here and here. And if we should break all of those levels, even trying to go back to the upside before reaching this level here, I could possibly have trouble in this area here. So I'm going to look at Tesla because Tesla is something that I normally look at often, and as you can see, I've already marked those levels, and it's going to help me so that I'm not fumbling through. Again, if you don't have, I'm going to remove that, if you don't have multiple, you know, screens, you're able to know where your possible trouble places. And y'all, I say that so often with trading, is, you know, where could you possibly have trouble in identifying those places. Y'all, it's just simple support and resistance, marking those levels as to, you know, something stopped me in this area. There's a strong possibility that we're going to come back to that area again, which is, this is a prime example of that here. This is a previous level of support. We come back to that area. So yeah, I wanted to point out some of the things that I normally try to look at, you know, pre-market before the bell rings. I kind of want to know where I could possibly have trouble, and I use my moving averages, and so many people say they don't, some say they do. And y'all, again, I say it again, it's what works best for you and coming up with your strategy, because, you know, without them, at least we don't know where the areas could be. With them, it kind of helps to know. And the only difference between the EMA and the SMA is time, speed, you know, just time. So whatever works best for you, whatever you're familiar with, whatever view works best for you, let's say that. So this is the 5-minute chart for Tesla, and looking at this 5-minute chart, I know I could possibly have trouble here. I could possibly have trouble here. Those lines were kind of close to some other areas. Possibly have trouble here, 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 and the ATR trailing stop, which is forming on this 5-minute chart. Now, sometimes I look at my 2-minute chart, so I'm going to mark this ATR trailing stop. Why? Because in my opinion, that's going to be a strong area of resistance, my opinion, right? So I want to know that when I look at my 2-minute chart, that is the ATR trailing stop on this 5-minute chart here. So I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to go to my 2-minute chart just to see if that's visible. Before I go there, I wanted to point out that this level we already had marked. Well, this is my 50 EMA on the 30-minute chart. Should we break through this strong area of resistance, in my opinion, I could still have trouble from this area to this area. And if I break that, I could still have trouble somewhere around this area. It is very important that I know where my possible trouble places are. And again, it's just using the moving averages and marking those levels on my charts so that when I'm going to the smaller time frame, I am able to see that this is the 2-minute chart as of right now for Tesla. And I'm going to show you that I could possibly see that trouble here, trouble here, trouble here. This is just looking at a smaller time frame. So this is what works for me. Let me say that. And again, I've said so often, y'all, figuring out what works best for you. So I wanted to kind of go over some of the things that I look at when I'm right before the opening bell, is to figure out where my possible trouble places are. And as you can see, Tesla came up to this line here only to have trouble. And it is the 5 EMA on this 30-minute chart, which moved at the time. But look, we can see that that was it could possibly be a trouble place. And yes, the moving averages moved. Let me say that. It just gives us an idea of where we could possibly have trouble. I can't say that enough. So y'all, I hope these videos are very, very helpful. I hope that everyone have a very profitable and a very productive day. Learning your support and resistance and where your possible trouble places are is very important to trading. I hope that everyone, again, have an awesome day today. And if you could, please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, y'all, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.